this week's Top Gear, just how good is Ford's new Mondeo? How good is its predecessor as a second-hand buy? And talking of Sierras, off-road in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Greetings and welcome to a new series of Top Gear, which begins with a programme that is largely given over to Ford. Thanks very much. Ford, you see, is as much a part of the way of life in Britain as the royal family, or drizzle, or even fish and chips. If the BBC is your auntie, then Ford is your uncle. So, when Ford launches a new car, it's big news. But when Ford launches a replacement for the Sierra, well, you drop everything. Except your fish and chips, of course. This is the car in question, the new Mondeo. Later in the programme, I'm going to be road testing it, but whether it turns out to be a good car or not is largely academic, because it will sell. It will sell because there are hundreds of dealers, and because Fords are easy to insure, easy to mend, and easy to own. But more than that, it will sell because of its family tree. Michelle Newman starts the ball rolling by looking at its granddad.
Or perhaps, Jeremy, great-great-great-granddad. For it was no less than 5 car generations ago, in 1962, that Ford revolutionised the family car market with this. At the time, British family saloons were named after Tweedy university towns. They were oh so respectable in appearance and cost a substantial slice of the average family budget. But Ford changed all that.
We're at Cortina, Italy, famed as a winter sports resort, where 19 world champion race and rally drivers are being feted for having accumulated more than 200 wins in 26 countries driving the Ford Cortina, named the International Car of the Year. When the world's finest drivers get together, something exciting is bound to happen. And in this case, it's the discovery of an exciting new sport called autobobbing. Here's what the famed bobsled run looks like from the driver's seat of the world-famous Cortina. Championship sleds travel the course at about 50 miles per hour, and the Cortina exceeds that speed while taking some of the turns with only 6 inches of clearance. Former world champion Jim Clark says it's the most exciting sport he's ever tackled. We'll take his word for it. But if you have any doubts, he recommends a Cortina, lots of nerve, and plane tickets to Italy for you and your doctor.
By using the Cortina name, Ford gave their new car the aura of ski resorts, glamour and pizzazz. By keeping it simple, they kept the price down to little more than the tiny but technically advanced Mini, and left room for a healthy profit margin to boot. It was a marketing coup that changed the way Britain thought about family cars forever. And it wasn't just a new name. For car buyers on a budget, the Cortina was full of tempting detail, like the horizontal speedo and the aluminium dashboard. This was avant-garde 1960s style. Outside, there are enough sharp edges to give you the impression that it was designed by Gillette. In fact, the only things that weren't sharp were these Van der Boom rear lights. Well, it didn't take long for Ford's marketeers to realise they were really onto something. So 4 years and 1 million Cortinas later, they launched another. Although rather more sober in appearance, the Mark II Cortina took Ford's business panache a stage further. They realised that with one car, they could appeal to everybody. And so they became masters at selling the same basic body in lots of different versions. Starting with the Deluxe, those on a shoestring, through to the Super, the GT, and to this, the XR3i of its day, the 1600E. E, of course, was very executive, elevated by these wooden door fillets, matching dashboard, the plethora of gauges, and this leather-encased steering wheel. The Cortina had at last become a class motor. The Executive also got lowered ground-hugging suspension, matte black trim and rose-style wheels, all hinting at a fairly brisk turn of speed. Of course, cars went out of date pretty quickly back then, so 1970 brought another Cortina. Only this time, Ford got a bit cocky.
It's refinement that gives the look of prestige to the new Cortina. Refinement in style and in the hidden qualities of the engineering. She doesn't care that the seats have been ergonomically designed with extra legroom in the front. She just knows she's comfortable. She doesn't care that the wider track and new suspension have been designed to improve the handling and reduce vibration. She only knows it's a really smooth, sophisticated ride. She doesn't know that the bulkhead has been specially soundproofed and that the wiper motor and blower have been banished to the engine compartment. She only knows it's easier to hear the nice things he says in the new Cortina.
Thankfully, they don't make commercials like that anymore. But with their car, Ford's marketing team had got it right again. The radical style hit the mood of the 70s and shot the Cortina to the #1 slot in the sales charts for month after month after month. There's no doubting what decade you're in here with the jumbo-sized Fablon dash, the sticky black plastic seats and the instruments buried down by your ankles. You keep expecting James Burke to be alongside. Slip something stirring in the 8-track and you're ready for tomorrow's world. With the Mark IV, Ford were pandering to the fleet market they'd helped to create. It was a conventional car, but then it had to be, if it was to sell to the reps that Ford now knew so well, better in fact than anyone else in the business. They were enormously successful at it. By 1980, 1 in every 8 cars sold in Britain was a Cortina. It wasn't the best car you could own, even if it was a V6 gear like this one. But with 20 years marketing expertise behind them, Ford could do no wrong. They were crushing the opposition like beetles. And it didn't stop there. They kept the pace up. Shortly after the 4 millionth Cortina came off the production line, Ford decided it was time for a major change. Only this time, they well and truly blew it.